do we praise fathers more when they're just doing the basic standard of care?
And there is a slew of mothers who give so much time.
Where does the key problem you see lie? Hello, I'm Trent.
And I'm Emily.
And this is That's Not What I Said. So this is our weekly podcast where we talk about kind of the things that we experience on a weekly basis and the fights, the bickering, the resolution we come to. And yeah.
It's a bad idea.
So it's not a bad idea. It's going to be a great idea, babe. Anyways, you had a topic this week that was I loved. I love this topic because we always bring it up and we're always talking about it.
Okay, so yeah. Well, I was picking up our kids from school this week, and my sweet husband is on the PTA at our school, and I just want to throw it out there. I'm not on the PTA, but I do volunteer a lot at the school. I go above and beyond for that school.
Of course, yes, you do. You absolutely do.
And as I'm picking up the girls, a fellow parent approaches me and is just gushing over a recent interaction she had with you during one of the PTA meetings. And it was just like, oh, he does so much, and he's such a model citizen parent, blah, blah, blah. And he's so great, and he can do no wrong, and yada, yada, yada. And you're so lucky to be married to such a wonderful man.
You are.
And no, and I, of course I was like, oh, thank you. And, of course I appreciate that you're that involved, but also that's my expectation for you as my partner, that you are involved with our children's lives.
Absolutely. And I love being involved. I think that's one reason why this particular parent, and there's a couple of them, but I think I know who you're talking about. Anyways, why they gush on me, because I am involved, but also because I take pride. I love being involved in our kids' lives.
Yes, and I think it is wonderful. It is, but it's a constant kind of thing in our lives that has occurred from time to time, all the way back to when the kids were babies. Like I remember specifically when we were in Costco that one time, right?
Yeah.
And you're baby wearing. And I've baby worn 100 million times in Costco, and no one ever says a dang thing to me. And the first time you do it in Costco, everyone is stopping you and going like, good job, Dad. Yeah, Dad. Oh, you're doing great. And I just want someone to stop me and be like, yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great for doing like the basics of parenting, of involved parenting. So that's my gripe this week.
I love it. And so that's today's episode. Today's episode is, what does it mean to be an involved dad? It has a standard increased. I mean, I think it has. My father, I love him, but he was nowhere nearly as involved as I was.
Right.
And
standards have definitely changed.
And so, do we praise fathers more when they're just doing the basic standard of care?
Yeah, and I don't want to call it basic, but it's basic in the terms of its standard care that a mother would be expected to provide, right?
And I love it. And I get praise. I love it.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of sad too, like especially in the PTA example, you are one of a handful of dads who volunteer at the school, right? Yeah. And there is a slew of mothers who give so much time to our school. And it would be nice to see more fathers there. How do we, thank you, and also that's my expectation for you as my partner.
Yeah.
That we share the childcare duties, right?
So where does the key problem you see lie?
Societal expectations for caregiving, right?
Yeah.
Like that. And this is, I think, where there's a lot of frustration around, like, I guess it would be like the feminist movement, right? Brought women into the workforce.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, it did not bring men into caregiving. And so, because one side went into a new area, but the other side, which is the home side of life, like the societal effort for equity in the home the work was not done.
But that I don't know. I don't agree with that because we know plenty of mothers who are stay-at-home mothers, and where the fathers still are
And that's fine.
involved. So if the
Those
mother,
are individual choices, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But if the mother is a stay-at-home mother, should the father be expected to step up?
I think is still a separation of duties.
Absolutely.
And the duties are between, caregiving at home, who's bringing in the money, how are you bringing in the money, what does that look like, who's caring for the mental health and well-being of the people in the home.
Yeah.
Like that's, these are all factors of what makes a healthy home,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And I just think the focus was put so much by our society on the things that make money, right? That the things that don't make money but are equally important to making money were completely ignored. And that's why you see like so many women right now are frustrated and burnt out because there is still like this mindset among men that they don't need to do the child care caring.
See, and that's where I disagree. I don't think it's that we don't care. And I'll talk for other men because my brothers, for example, great men.
Of course,
but
I love them.
Absolutely leave child because that's a division of labor that they set up in the families. Do they still get involved? Yes, they absolutely do.
I don't think you should be speaking for your brother's roles in their homes right now because we don't live with them, right?
Come on, we know them well enough to know. For example, yes, we said we wouldn't name names in this podcast. But my one brother who's blonde,
oh my gosh.
He is very incredibly involved. And he goes above and beyond for his kids. And I would love to hear his take on this because they have a division of labor where his wife is a stay-at-home mother and she's great. She's phenomenal. But he still comes home and does a lot of chores. So he comes home and he does dishes. He cleans the house. He tidies up. He bathes the kids.
With those, especially who are working outside the home to bring in income and still feel the majority of the work in the home, in caring and cleaning is placed on them.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So,
I've seen it time and again.
I think it's those people who see you and pray and are like, oh my gosh, like this guy has it dialed in. And you are a example of a modern father, I think, a millennial father, because you have seen examples in your life that you don't necessarily want to repeat, right? Or want to.
So, and there's a difference. Like, there's a lot of things I like about the baby boomer generation. There's a lot of things I like about it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things about traditional families that I like.
There are certain appealing things, yes.
Yes, there are things that I like. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that the way my parents raised me, and that's the reason why? No, that's not. I am involved because I truly enjoy being involved in our kids' lives.
Yes.
And also I have the luxury. I'm not tired. I don't work construction anymore. I don't work labor anymore.
You're right. You don't have a hard labor job. But also, I think you choose to be involved, right?
Yeah.
And that's the choice everyone has to make for themselves, is their level of involvement in their family and in their relationships, right?
Absolutely.
And I think so many people just kind of are not actively choosing things. And so maybe they're just like letting life bypass
Absolutely.
a little bit.
And we've talked about that a lot. I mean, and we actually were talking about that where and that'll be another episode in the future where people who've let their lives kind of fly by them, they don't plan out their lives.
Yeah.
Their lives.
They're not.
Their lives
they're not
dictate
the
their future.
star of their own life.
Exactly.
Right.
But anyways, so back to the main point, which is. So is it a problem?
Well, okay. So here's where
is it a problem that dads get praise?
I don't think
and that moms don't for doing the same task.
I don't see a problem with praise. Where I see the problem is the inequity in the praise, right? Because parenting is hard, whether you're a male or a female. If you see a man out doing something with his children and you are like, dang, good job, Dad.
Yeah.
Maybe you should think to yourself, wait, have I ever praised a woman for doing that?
You're right. So a good example. So today we were at an Italian restaurant with our family, and I love it.
Whoa.
So anyways, so I see this dad, and the guy is like a 6'3", 280.
What does his stature matter?
Hold on, this matters because for guys this is context. This guy looks like he works construction. He's wearing a cowboy hat, red flannel, sleeved out. Big old country.
I don't think this matters at all.
And it does. It does. For men, it does. Because he probably works his ass off. I'm stereotyping. For sure, I'm stereotyping. I'm just saying, though. Stereotyping this guy. Cowboy hat. Sleeved out. Flannel. Cowboy belt buckle. I saw his boots. He was wearing some Red Wings.
Were his nails clean?
He was wearing some Red Wings that were dirty.
Okay.
Anyways.
Okay.
For sure, this guy, he's working labor. He's blue collar.
Okay.
So he's at the restaurant, just him and his son. He's being a freaking great dad. He's asking his kid.
How old was his son?
His son was 3.
Oh, around 3?
Yeah, around 3.
Okay.
And this guy's maybe like 36, 37, maybe a little bit younger. Anyways, he's engaged. He's talking to his 3-year-old son. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, and so I say to you.
Yeah.
Man, this is a good dad.
Yeah.
And I see him. I say that, and I see him look back.
Yeah, I saw his head like perked up, and he was like,
Yeah.
Huh?
But he was doing a great job, and he was keeping his kid engaged, and his kid was coloring. His son was coloring,
Yes.
and he's looking over and he asked,
Yeah.
"Oh, what are you coloring?"
Yeah.
I think dads are present. Hold on, let me finish. So where this ultimately goes is, as the dad gets up, walks out, I give him the dad look. Like, hey, we make eye contact, we smile. I say, good job, brother. And he's like, thanks. And I say, Happy New Year. And he gets a big old grin. He's like, thank you. And he just had this humble smile, which is like, thank you. And I was like, so here.
But, okay.
Wait, no. Back to your question. Wait.
Was there a woman sitting by us also?
There was.
With her child by
what?
herself?
Did you say anything
No.
to the mother?
Did you say anything?
I wasn't facing the mother. I was facing the dad.
So here's the thing, though. I'm not going to praise either of them. They're doing a great job. They're on their... Why do I need to praise them for being good parents?
Hey, for dads, all the dads on here, we have the bro code. Hey, when we see good dads doing good jobs, give each other a nod. Good job, brother.
I'm just saying, you thought to praise the man. You could have also praised the woman.
Hey, I didn't see her. She was sitting behind me.
Oh, you saw her.
No, of course I saw her when we walked in. Mm-hmm. But how come you didn't say anything? And that's the thing. Like, so I go out, and I go out a lot. You see this all the time. I try my best to abide by the bro code. When I see another dad doing a good job, I give him a smile, a nod, and I point like, good job, brother. Anyways.
I don't think...
it would be weird if I did that. If I was going around
why
women
would that
like,
be weird?
Good job, sister.
Why would that be weird? They would be so touched. If a man saw that they were out taking their child, because that woman was with like a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And if she felt seen by you, that would have made her day. If you would have like walked by and been like, hey, you're doing a great job. Happy New Year. She would have loved that.
All I'm saying is,
women to women, it's different, babe.
Same thing. You're proving my point.
What?
which is it's different for women to compliment other women because it's expected. But if a guy compliments another guy, I'm doing the same thing that other dad's doing.
All I'm saying is compliment the women too.
Hey, don't get me wrong. Have there been times where I have complimented women? Yes, there have been. Infrequently, though.
It is just as hard.
It has to be like, and this is my double standard. You're right. Maybe this is my double standard because I'm a man to man. We smile at each other.
Why has it got to be a bro code?
Hey.
Why can't you? If you're the type of person to give praise, then give praise to dads and moms.
I'm just saying, like, I could smile at dad. He'll smile back. He'll be like, hey, good job. And he'll be like, thanks. If I look at a mom, or because I've done it many, many times, where I look at a woman, I smile, and it's like, oh shit, this guy is looking at me. Shit, he's probably gonna ask for my number. It gets awkward, and that's why, because that happens enough to where it's like, you know, it's a type of social rejection, where it happens enough where I make eye contact, I smile, and then I get the awkward, like, ugh, the ick. Someone gives me the ick, and I'm like, well, fuck you then. You know?
Well, okay, so that's another. I mean, this is like layers upon layers now,
Of course
because
this is. But the whole point was, why don't I do it to women? And I'm telling you why.
Well, but a woman's reaction to a strange man, like being like ick, like that's also a conditioned like social response. You know, that
doesn't matter. That's not the topic for this episode. The
I
topic for this episode is,
know,
why
I know,
don't
but
do
I'm
it
just
to
saying,
women?
like, this is so layered, right? And it's like,
Absolutely.
you can at least try. Like, especially, like, with parents at our school or
Yeah.
parents we know.
Oh, no. All the moms, the moms I know, I'm always telling them, hey, and sometimes I'll text them and say, hey, Trent, can you pick up the kids, my boys, tomorrow? I'm like, hey, this particular mom,
You're right.
you're doing great.
You're right.
Like, keep your chin up. You're doing great. And I, you know that I do with women I know, I'm quick to praise. I'm always quick to praise.
But, and so this is the thing that it's like, I'm sorry you feel like when you've given stranger women praise in the past, that you've gotten like a ick response. I get it, because
that's
when
men,
we're with our children, like, we're very protective, right? Like, we go into protection mode because our children can be kidnapped and murdered at any point in time.
Sure.
We always have to be on the lookout.
Sure.
But it just stinks that that's like the reality that you've experienced.
Yeah.
Because I think women do appreciate the praise, but I think the praise means more coming from people close to them.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I think we just don't genuinely value or see the work that women do around caregiving in the home.
Yeah.
Or if we do, we just, like, we as family members, like, take it for granted,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's our specific situation, but I think that's a general societal situation.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you think that kids notice when dads are involved and when dads get praise versus dads who don't get praise and dads who aren't as involved?
Well, I mean, kids definitely notice how involved their parents are or aren't in their lives,
Sure,
right?
sure.
I don't know if they notice the praise part, and I don't know if that matters, but they definitely notice who's involved, who actively participates in their life, and who doesn't.
See, and I'm not going to say I'm going to disagree, because I do. Absolutely, they notice. Kids notice everything.
Yeah.
There's so much shit that we do.
If you're
where
not...
the kids are like, oh, Dad, you did that? I'm like, you were in the other room. They're like, well, I heard you, and then I came and peeked around, and I saw you.
No.
So kids absolutely notice.
They see who's making dinner.
They're
they see
absolutely paying
who's helping
attention.
them with homework, who shows up to their sporting games,
Yes.
who shows up to their every little rinky-dink thing at school that we need to come look at.
But kids also notice for dads, if dad works construction, or like my brothers who work in construction, They're tired.
Nope.
They bust. The kids do absolutely notice that kids.
No, they don't.
That dads, yes, they do. You are fooling yourself.
Not to the no.
Kids know when dad's busting his ass, when he's tired and he's working all day and he just wants to rest.
They don't see that.
Yes, they do.
They don't.
Yes, they do. They absolutely, and that's where I disagree with you.
No.
Kids absolutely see that. Because
we see people through our own lens, right?
Sure.
Kids have a crazy amount of energy.
Yes.
So they don't even have a frame of reference for adults' level of energy or lack thereof.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to think back to when you were a kid. Like, did you recognize?
Yes, I knew that my dad was working construction and that he was tired.
Our
kids notice, like, hey, Dad, you didn't work that hard today. I saw you in your office sending emails. You can come out and play with me, or you can take me on my bike ride.
And that's different because we're in an era of working from home too. Sure. And so you can visually see someone.
Sure. But when dads leave at 5 in the morning and get home at 3, 4 in the afternoon,
not every kid gets it.
Sure, not every kid. I wasn't not giving kids a they deserve.
I'm thinking back on my own references as a child. Did not have one iota of frame for thinking that, oh, maybe the adults in my life have worked a really hard day, breathing in weird chemicals and moving heavy things.
Yeah.
And because I come from a blue collar background as well, did not. All I saw were adults sitting on the couch, not paying attention to me. And I felt hurt.
And maybe that's on us as parents to explain. I mean, maybe that's really it is on us as parents to explain to our kids, like, what we do. Like, do you know what? Because my kids know what I do. Mm-hmm. I tell them. My kids know that, hey, if I'm going up on the roof to clean, I just went and clean out the gutters. Hey, you're coming with me. That's aside from the point of, do kids know what we do? But explaining to kids why we do things or what we do for work, and if I'm too tired, if I didn't help out, maybe this is a learning lesson for dads. Like, hey, do we actually talk to
our kids communicating
and say, hey, this is why I'm not playing with you. This is why I don't want to go. And I've said that to our kids, our girls, many times. Where I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm tired. I've been working my ass off all day.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
And I think that's a great point, right? Is like, regardless of whether or not you're like volunteering at school or taking the kids to soccer, if you're not able to do those things, are you at least communicating to your children as to why you're not, right? Yeah. Or how much you would love to be there, but maybe you can't for XYZ reason. Because I think that communication alone goes a long way. And I will say, like, I did not have that level of communication as a child, right? Yeah. And so...
And this is why I'm so quick to praise dads. And I do. I have a soft spot more for blue-collar dads because I was in the Army. I worked construction. I did demo. And then I was like, you know what? F this. I don't want to do this for I'm going to college. I'm using my GI Bill.
Yeah.
And so I went to college. But because I have that background, because my dad and my brother's are blue collar,
right.
I do. That's why I'm quick to praise dads who are, like I said, the guy at the Italian restaurant. Like, just reading him, stereotyping him. But guess what? 100% that dad appreciated what I did.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a quick 3-second, you know what? Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
You're welcome, brother. Hey, Happy New Year. Doing great.
And I think that's a good question of, like, do men get praise for caregiving? Or is that, like, traditionally we have praised men for being, like, strong or, you know, like being a breadwinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe if men were praised more for caregiving and their skills in child rearing or caring for the home.
Absolutely.
Maybe they would find value in it or realize they're good at it or, you know, I don't know.
Or find their niche.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to all my kids' PT. I just have the luxury of doing that because of my work. It gives me that freedom where I can take some time off, do that stuff, and then work in the evening after the kids go to bed or in the night when the kids go to bed.
Yes.
But again, like it comes down to should dads be expected to do this
Yes.
to do these roles?
Yes.
And is it wrong to praise them? One, again, I think it depends on how the parents divide up the roles.
Well,
But should dads be more active in today's society? Should dads be more active in kids' lives? Absolutely.
I think it's an
absolutely
expectation, but I also think it's an expectation that like women have to be conscious enough with them, like, and this is like, you don't know what you don't know until you're in it, right?
Yeah.
And that's like with parenting, you don't really talk about what kind of role you're gonna play or what expectations you have for parenting with your partner until you're in it and you're doing it, right? Like, at least we didn't. I don't know. Maybe there's some very thoughtful people out there who like have like planned to have kids.
Yeah.
Who does that? But it's tough to say what role you're going to default to until you're in it.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to default to the things that you saw growing up or the roles that you've seen modeled for you,
Absolutely.
right?
No, 100%. 100% agree.
And it takes kind of level setting as a couple, like for one person to say, you know what, I need support in this area, and this is my expectation for how I would like us to do this together. And then you have to have that conversation, right?
Yeah.
So, because I think for us, I mean, I lucked out with someone who wanted to be a really involved parent. Like you carry a lot of pride in your parenting and being involved.
Do I do it? Do I do it because I'm selfish and I like the praise, or do I do it because it's the right thing? A little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. But I think, and maybe if more men understood how, like, the praise that comes along with it, maybe they don't realize the incentives, the public incentives. Yeah. But for women, I think it's more just like a societal expectation, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that...
And I see where I will sit on the sideline and expect you to do things. Mm-hmm. I 100% do I do it. I'm not guiltless of this. I will be in our living room watching TV or in my office on the computer just doing bullshit.
Oh, I know you're like, oh, if I pretend to be working, Emily will bathe the children.
Yeah, exactly. But do I always say thank you, babe? I always say thank you, take care of the kids. and then when I do see like, hey, you're struggling for the day, or like if I feel like, oh shit, I haven't done enough, mm-hmm. I will zoom upstairs and be like, hey, I got the kids today. I'll take care of the kids.
Yeah.
But again, that's because I have an easier job. I have my job is mentally taxing, so it feels good to do physical stuff that I don't have to think about. I just go on autopilot.
Yeah.
I drive the kids. I pick them up. I take them to soccer. I come home. Hey, get your butts in the shower. Or hey, oh, we want to take a bath tonight. Fine, cool. Let's take a bath. Mm-hmm. I'll prepare the bath for them. Throw some Mr. Bubble in there. Cool, we're done.
Yeah.
And then I have them get themselves out. But again, I give praise to dads. And do I think dads who do more? I'm jumping all over the place, but do I give praise to dads? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do I think that dad should be expected to do as much as I do? Depends on their roles. If they're working instructional day, I don't. I don't.
Well, conversely, do you think women should be expected to do the things I do?
But again, I step in because I know that you're not a stay-at-home mom.
You step in?
I do my part because you're not because I see that we work equally, mm-hmm. and that means at home we should be equal. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so if both parents are working, should there be equal division of labor? 100% yes, there should be. Mm-hmm. There should be. But again,
working
there's nuances
outside of the home, earning
absolutely.
a wage.
But there's nuances because if you worked an office job and then if I was working like my one brother, both my brothers who mm-hmm. work from 4 a.m. till 3 p.m. If I did that, would you expect me, and I was working manual labor, would you really expect me to come home and do as much as I do now?
So, and this is where we're talking about two different scenarios, right?
I know. I'm just saying
Because
division of labor.
every family divides the labor differently depending on who's bringing in the wage, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just a function of our society. We have to have income, right?
For centuries, millennia.
And unfortunately, those who stay home and caregive do not earn a wage for doing that. And so the emphasis...
But they're equally important.
That's what I'm saying, is it's work. It's
Absolutely
still caring for a home, caring for children, making sure you have a mentally healthy and stable household. That's some heavy work.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
I would argue that, my office job, love it, easier, way easier than parenting and caring for the house.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to it some days. It's a reprieve.
Yeah.
Because I just have to go and do this one thing, and I know the expectations, and I'm not going to have to wipe anyone's butt.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think the issue comes in where one's work is valued more than another's, right?
Okay.
And I think that there's no one right solution, but there is a right solution for every couple, right?
Yeah, there is. And I think, so do we try to change this as a society, or do we leave it up to family units to decide what's good for them? Because we know plenty of family units where the division of labor is not equal.
Yeah.
The moms are carrying the burden.
Yeah.
I know
a lot of burnt out women.
Plenty of dads.
Yeah.
Who work office jobs, come home, play video games, unfortunately, and they're just like, you take care of the kids, and they just check out.
And we're of the generation...
I hate that.
Well, and we're of the generation, or not, we're at the age where, we're starting to see those frustrations bubble up, and, we're at the age now where people get divorced, right?
Yeah.
And I think the problem is that it's hard to be something if you've never seen it modeled, right?
Yeah.
And this was something that has come up with me a million times in counseling sessions, right?
Yeah.
Is well, if you've never seen it, it's hard to know you can be it or how to do it.
Or how to do it, exactly, how to do it.
Right. And so that's the thing is and still so much of our media that we take in is the Disney princess fairy tale, right?
Yeah.
And we're starting to migrate away, but it's still, there's not a lot in pop culture showing us productive relationships with involved fathers.
Yeah.
And we need more of that, I think.
Okay.
And I think that's why, a lot of women do come to you and do praise you because you're illustrating what they would love to see or love to have, but have never been able to articulate.
And that's where I feel like when if women want that in their family from their partner, voice it, say it. Because there's plenty of times where I'm like, even when I don't step up, when I am being that lazy guy, because I'm that lazy guy many times. And you know that.
Yeah.
You come up and you say, hey, get your
Buster.
ass up.
Yeah.
Come help the kids or take care of dinner. Do something. You're not gonna sit in here and hang out.
Yeah.
Choose something.
Yeah.
And so and that's where, and I appreciate that. I love that you do that because, again, there's times when I want to veg out because I'm tired.
Yeah.
But
you don't always.
But I know that you're tired also, and it takes that interaction for me to be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Babe's tired. Okay, I'll get my ass up and I'll do something. I'll pick something.
Yeah.
So and again, that's where I feel like it's up to, if men aren't pulling their fair share.
Yeah.
It's up to the woman. It's up to, or the partner.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's woman or man. It's up to the partner to say, hey, to the other partner, hey, get your ass up and do something.
Yeah.
Hey, I took the kids to soccer 5 days last week. Mm-hmm. This is your week. Oh, I'm tired. I'm working. I'm like, I'm working also.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Because we've had those conversations.
Yeah. And I think yes, you're right. It's it's those conversations and having those conversations a million times over, right? But also doing it in a way that like, yeah, I'll come in and be like, hey, what the heck are you doing? You know? And I'm giving you options of like, I'm still doing a lot of mental labor here, right?
And don't get me wrong.
Because I'm like, you can do X, Y, Z, but you can't do this right now.
Yeah.
And in a way that's I'm still kind of parenting you in that moment, right?
But again, I still need that. Guess what?
I know. But that's
we're
the
talking
thing.
about dads who aren't doing anything.
Yes. And
do they need that parenting? Yes.
They need an extra.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But
if you want change, you got to be the teacher at some point. If you want change, you got to be the change.
And it takes knowing what you need. And I think that's the hard part is like a lot of people go through life maybe not even recognizing what it is that they need.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to articulate it when you haven't thought about it.
Okay.
Or perhaps their partner isn't receptive to it, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Also, a bigger problem is you and your partner aren't on the same page with the level of care and effort you put into the children, right? In terms of, like, I can say, hey, I've done soccer twice this week. It's your turn.
Yeah.
But if it's not if you don't care that the kids are at soccer, then...
Of course, that's a big
right. That's a bigger issue too.
That's a bigger issue because that's a father who's just so divested from his family.
Yeah,
and we know those fathers.
Yeah. So
again, I don't hate them, but I'm like, but I make comments to those dads in my life, and I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna bring my kids. Like, oh, why do you gotta bring? Because I like being around my kids.
Yeah. Like
I want my kids to be involved.
You want them and expose them to life.
Absolutely.
Have experiences with them. And so that's where like I think what we do works because at the foundation we have the same expectations for what's important for us with our children, right? Yeah. You will take the kids to soccer because it's important to the kids that they go to soccer.
Yeah.
Right. So it takes somebody who cares and wants to do more, but maybe doesn't know how to do more, right?
Yeah.
You have to care though. That's the foundation.
That's foundation. You have to care.
And you have to be willing to be open to growth too, personal growth, because I think we both had those hard conversations where it's not always just you. So sometimes it's me too. Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
It's adjusting expectations, finding a compromise that doesn't sacrifice what we want for our children. We come to that mutual agreement. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, societal role models, we need that social aspect of this is what these things look like. Phil Dunphy's a great example, right? Modern Family. But we need more of that in pop culture. We need more of that in our friends and families, right? So we can see. But then at an intimate level, we need good communication with our partners. So we're on a strong foundation to begin with. We're difficult
or recouping. If we're not on foundation, have that hard conversation.
Willingness to build that foundation.
Yep.
To come together so that we have the same expectations for parenting. Because if we have different expectations about our involvement in our children's lives, that's a hard place.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think that was a great first episode.
Good job, babe. Good job.
Thank you. Good job to you, babe.
Thank you for that praise. You're welcome. Was wonderful. It felt so good.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
If you're interested in following us more, go ahead and subscribe, like this video. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you viewing and being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.